Welcome to Cordkillers Reckoning. The world of entertainment is turned upside down, and we're just trying to find out how to watch what we want, where we want, whenever we want. I'm Tom Merritt. Where's the good stuff, Brian?
Oh my gosh, it's back in the 1800s when American Telephone and Telegraph was created. This episode of Cordkillers brought to you by AT&T Streaming.
Yeah, those Edison light bulb guys didn't pay their bill, so it's American Telephone and Telegraph today.
That's right. No, you guys know my ongoing trials and tribulations with Spectrum. They got me again, and it was, I can't believe it took this long for us to realize as the internet went out today that maybe, just maybe, Spectrum, the cable company, really hates our show.
They could. They might. We've actually been saying nice things about their strategy of consolidation, but not anymore. Fine.
No. Yeah, no, this is anti-competitive.
All right, let's get on to the supply run.
Supply run.
I don't know that people are that upset about this, Brian, or that they'll have a lot to say about it. But did you hear that YouTube TV raised its price?
You know what? I would say that no, I did not, Tom. Nobody took to the streets. Go ahead. Keep going.
$72.99 a month is what it is right now. But it is going to be $82 a month starting, well, December 12th already happened. So now it was $72.99 a month. It is now $82 a month if you're a new user. And if you're an existing user, January 13th, your bill goes up from $72.99 to $82 a month. YouTube says it is due to the rising cost of content. Now, I feel like people are getting a little crazy about like raised prices. Not that I love them either, but they're like raising it again. They just raised it. Last time they raised it was March 2023. So it's been technically more than a year, but yeah, okay. You know, that's fairly rapid in the grand scheme of things. YouTube TV is the largest internet delivered pay TV service of its kind with around 8 million subscribers. Hulu plus Live TV is second with 4.6 million. Interestingly, Brian, in an email to its customers about this, YouTube wrote, "We hope YouTube TV continues to be your service of choice, but we understand that some of our members may want to cancel their subscriptions. As always, family managers have the ability to pause or cancel anytime. You can find more information in the Help Center." I have a theory about what's going on there, but Brian, where does your brand marketing brain go with that kind of message?
Well, first of all, I think that correctly they've identified that the target demographic, the kind of people who are subscribed to YouTube TV for the cable-like old-fashioned experience, who maybe have families and have there's a reason that they offer 3 concurrent streams on there and infinite DVR. Like, this is all family stuff. And if you have family stuff and you're the head of household, you are not terribly price sensitive. You're not going to lose your mind over $10 a month if this is the difference between keeping your teenager, your tween, your young one, your college kid coming back. If it keeps them off your back, not speaking about anyone whose name is Brian Brushwood and might consider not even noticing that $10 price change. But I'm going to say that if anything, Tom, I think this is a little bit of a reflection of just how niche the need for an all-you-can-eat service is, where it's like, if you're like, when that's a small enough group, then, and you're that price insensitive, essentially you're somebody who belongs in the old days as a cable user, you're anchored against $120 a month. And the difference between 72 and 82 is not that much. Now, I'm not saying that it's open season, that this is fair game. I'm just saying that to the target demographic, it still feels like they're just gobbling up essentially house money at this moment.
I get the impression, and tell me if I'm crazy, because tell me if this sounds crazy. I know I'm crazy.
Okay, yeah, 2 different issues, Tom.
Yeah, let me be clear. I think this indicates that YouTube needs to have YouTube TV right now for whatever reason, for various reasons, and I have my theories on what those reasons are, but doesn't need it to have all the subscribers. In fact, it may well be that when they say, like, listen, if you need to cancel your service, it's because every subscriber loses them money. And so as long as they have enough subscribers to justify having YouTube TV, that could fulfill some other business needs,
that is
partnership needs, but having more subscribers isn't necessarily a good thing.
Tom, that's some Brian Brushwood thinking you're doing right there.
That is a very high compliment. Thank you.
Oh, no. Because like, I do that kind of thing. It's like, I'm like, I don't know. I get distracted because I notice I'm like, they're doing that thing. Why are they doing that thing? Why would you do that thing? You're doing that thing because incentives are aligned like this. That's exactly what that sounds like. I would be, as I was looking up, I read the story and I started poking around like, what else included in YouTube TV, just to remind myself. And number one autocomplete was, is YouTube Premium included with YouTube TV? So there is a bit of brand confusion because you're right, Tom, it is not included. They are two totally separate things. Now, let's say, now that the landscape is settling, things are calming down, and you might want to hit everyone in the new year with a new message that maybe has them all under, this is wild speculation on my part, just so you know, maybe raising the price and just seeing what happens to that market, and especially making it easy to unsubscribe and then come back would be so one of the things, part of the reason the YouTube algorithm is so good is because of its incessant and constant A/B testing. And it's able to do that quietly and in private because it has a tailored experience for every single individual user. Now, when it comes to in public moves like changing your price, you don't get to individually A/B test everything, but you can make little moves like this one. Just see what happens. Say it's easy to unsubscribe. If that's a problem, we apologize. Now you're primed, and so if it's easy to leave, it's easy to come back, and that seems to be the place that YouTube really excels in. So to me, this all feels like just a little bit of a gentle probe to figure out what the tolerances are for the audience.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think it goes even beyond that, though. So I did a little sleuthing this weekend, and I subscribed to YouTube TV because I wanted to see what, if anything, that did to my YouTube experience. It did almost nothing. There is no indication in YouTube that I have YouTube TV now that I do. Even though there's a section of YouTube called Your Movies and TV, the only indication that I have YouTube TV is that the NBA TV channel add-on shows as purchased because it's included in YouTube TV. But the other primetime channel add-ons like Paramount Plus, Max, VIX, MGM Plus, Stars, those aren't included in the base YouTube TV subscription. So they just show as like, hey, would you like to try this out? You can add it to YouTube. It seems odd to me that nowhere in YouTube is there an indication that you can add YouTube TV, that they have a movie and TV section, which includes all the Google TV and movies that you purchase, but doesn't include anything from YouTube TV. And I looked up the numbers. They have 100 million premium subscribers worldwide compared to the 8 million YouTube TV subscribers. Premium is definitely a money-making situation for them. All these primetime channel add-ons like Paramount Plus are a money-making situation for them. I would be shocked if YouTube TV is not a loss, not even a loss leader, just a loss. And having it makes it easier to strike these other deals. Like they want NBA TV to be an add-on for YouTube because they're going to make money every time one of those 100 million premium subscribers adds it on. But they had to have YouTube TV to get NBA to talk to them about it.
Okay, so hear me out on this one, Tom. This is, now I'm going full sign up for my newsletter, Conspiracy Theories.
Okay, got it.
I think that this is the first step in moving towards that magic $99 number. And if they could get $99 per household, so YouTube Premium is $22.99 a month for 5 family members with restrictions, blah, 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 blah. And if it's $72 plus $22.99, Well, that adds up to what, $94, et cetera. Now, by raising the price on that one thing, so it's what, $84 now?
82.
Okay, so now we're over $100. And so now it does start to sound like a value proposition. So if family is up to 5 family members, and right now TV is up to 3 concurrent streams, although I guess it's not like all 5 family members tend to watch different channels at the same time.
Right.
But that simplicity, that $100 a month, no ads, YouTube is finally truly winning. Tom, we've talked about this in After Talk. I'm finally deciding that YouTube is not going away anytime soon. And I say that without a trace of irony after 19 years of being on, 19 years of being on YouTube, 18 years. But like everyone else is washed out. Facebook is not going to be your video place. TikTok may or may not exist at any given moment. YouTube is serious about shorts. Nobody has the install base. Nobody's cracked the code of copyright, and its algorithm truly is the closest thing to a genuine meritocracy. The stuff I'm reading now, I'm reading Daryl Eve's book, The YouTube Formula. Things I didn't know about the YouTube algorithm. It's able to categorize every single object on your bookshelf right now, Tom, right behind you. It knows my face. It knows your face. It knows every single word we're saying. It looks at the title and it puts it in various content buckets. Like, it's won the game and it's not going away. And it truly is a race to quality for content. With that being the case, the weak parts about YouTube is the ad experience for the people enjoying YouTube. And the dependence on high-quality creators for the fickle nature. Right now, YouTube doesn't have the ability to give a raise to anyone. You have to just hope that you're the right target demographic. If you're, for example, an Asian female demographic, 35 to 45, you're going to make 4 times as much money as if you're a gamer channel, even though it's the same number of views. If they're able to step away from that ad-driven everything and get more people into the infinitely superior experience of YouTube Premium, and they're able to sell it as a dead simple $99.99 proposition, that would be a landmark gold mine. That would become the new anchor, the new standard. And again, we're still in crazy Brian newsletter conspiracy speculation mode, but that feels so right that the only thing that would be wrong would be if YouTube TV didn't cost enough to make that sound more attractive.
Yeah, I think the only fault I find with anything you said is that YouTube is interested in bundling YouTube TV into YouTube. I think, on the contrary, YouTube wants YouTube TV to just kind of wither away someday, like all of cable. It would, my theory is that it would like you to add channels through YouTube. That's why it's got that list of premium primetime add-ons like Max and Paramount Plus and NBA TV, etc. And it would like to expand that and be the platform. It would love to be able to say our algorithm can show you the latest shows from your channels you subscribe to and the channels on YouTube they subscribe to, so that eventually it just all merges, right? That would be YouTube's dream, is if the White Lotus from HBO shows up in your top level on YouTube, right next to Brian Brushwood, right next to your favorite vlogger, like whatever it is you like from whatever source, all on YouTube. Now, there's going to be some reasons why that won't happen because HBO doesn't want it to happen, but I feel like that's what they're aiming towards, is integration of that. I think YouTube TV, with its linear channels and the carriage agreements and the complicated nature, is just something they needed to do to get in the room and get those primetime channel add-ons, because people understand in business, oh, you want to have a showtime that I can buy with my cable subscription. That's how they get the deal. But then they also put it on YouTube. And eventually YouTube TV just goes away. Yep. Right? They're going to keep raising prices so it doesn't lose money, but they don't care if people keep subscribing to it. It goes away, and they just have YouTube Premium, YouTube Free with ads, and add-on channels, and that would be it.
Okay, so now that we're building out, and by the way, you get this one for free, YouTube. You're welcome. As we build out your strategy for you. So step one, which I suppose they're doing right now, is hammer on about how you get more, everything, get them to the $99. Then let's say that they even do that at a loss per use, Tom, as long as they harvest all of that and get maximum $100 a month lock-ins, then they could start shedding channels from YouTube TV, always claiming nobody watches it. Besides, if you do want it, you could just get it as an add-on in the YouTube environment. And then, so in that case, they reduce the actual value of the value proposition now that they got everyone locked in.
I wonder if they go the other direction.
What?
And they say, we are the only service that is lowering its price. Instead of $22.99, YouTube Premium is now only $19.99. By the way, no longer with YouTube Music. You have to add that separately. But they could take some things away, like from premium, and just sell it as ad-free, right? And then maybe a few other perks within YouTube.
Of like, if you bought it all separate, it would be $138.
Right. And if they're getting enough take up on the premium add-on channels, that makes up the difference too, right? They've got this new revenue source. Like, actually, it benefits us to have more people coming in through premium because then we can upsell them the add-on channels.
Think about this, Tom. Now I'm all the way out in the weeds, and I apologize to anybody. Cordkillers@gmail.com. Right now, there's enough of a smokescreen that all you have to say is inflation. And whereas 2 years ago, people would be all like, what? This ain't my grandpa's problem. This is modern day.
What's that?
But now, for now, so let's say hypothetically, I don't know, there could be projections that we have an incoming president that, I guess both parties were going to spend a ton of money and possibly exacerbate inflation. It doesn't matter. But it could be for, like, right now they have cover. So right now seems to be the right time for them to jump and raise prices so that then they could always negotiate and reduce value on the other side. But that's all voodoo numbers on their internal side anyway.
I just don't think they care about price sensitivity on YouTube TV. I don't think they care about subscribers numbers on YouTube TV. I think it's a vestigial arm that they eventually won't need.
It's like a public service that they bothered to make a cable-like experience.
I really think it's like a thing they needed to get conversations going that they are slowly not needing anymore. And now they could just point to, like, look how many Paramount Plus subscriptions we sold on YouTube Premium. Like, they won't need YouTube TV to start those conversations anymore, and they can just let it wither and die. And the more subscribers they have, the more it costs. So they're just like, forget it. Let's let it wither away.
W. Scottus One in the chat has a really interesting paradigm to shift this to. Is think about it in terms of a platform war between Amazon and YouTube for all the add-on channels that you want.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of merit to that.
Well, thank you. That is the coming war, right? It's whether it is Amazon or YouTube or Apple still wants to be, that place that manages your add-on channels. And then the Disneys and the Peacocks of the world trying to be more than just an add-on channel. They don't want to become relegated to that. I think that's where this battle is being fought, and YouTube knows it, and they would like YouTube to be the place, not YouTube TV to be the place where you manage your add-on channels, which is why they let you do it. Like, you add it on in one place, you get it on the other, because they really want you. I think they really want you using YouTube, and that's the future for them. The other thing I was going to mention too is I added YouTube TV, and my sister-in-law doesn't even live in the same city as us. But YouTube doesn't care. They're like, your family members can be anywhere in the US. We don't care about that. And so I have had her on my YouTube Premium for a while. And so I told her, I'm like, hey, I'm adding YouTube TV for work reasons. So you can use it if you want. And she's like, I thought I already had that. Right?
Yeah.
Because she had YouTube Premium.
That brand confusion. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the other reason and again, I don't think YouTube cares. I think they're like, yeah, if you know what YouTube TV is, fine. But 100 million premium users, way more interesting than 8 million potentially losing subscribers in the
Yeah.
Because if people are like, how are they losing money when they're raising the prices? They have to pay every cable network a carriage fee to be on YouTube TV. And every subscriber counts, whether you watch that channel or not. Whereas add-on channels, you just take a cut every time somebody pays it. So you don't lose money when people subscribe. People subscribe to YouTube TV. They have to pay for that subscriber for every single channel they offer.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, look, I've listened to the evidence that the two of us have submitted, and as also judge and jury, I deem this case settled. However, if anybody wants to let us know what they think, hit us up at cordkillers@gmail.com. Nicely done, Tom. We had a gavel and everything.
Yes, and we will continue to be available at the same price, which is as much as you can give us at patreon.com/cordkillers.
Yeah, dude, if you're feeling the Christmas spirit, if the ghost of Christmas past is saying, remember all the good times you had with the Cordkillers, if the ghost of Christmas present said, don't you wish that you could be with the Cordkillers, if the ghost of Christmas future says, don't be a cheapskate and worry about money, then head on over to patreon.com/cordkillers. If you got a buck, if you enjoy our show, we want that dollar. Thank you.
Apparently, Patreon lets you give Patreon subscriptions as a gift now, too.
Ooh, hello. I like that.
Yeah. So, patreon.com/cordkillers, the gift that keeps on giving from us. All right, let's move on to the search party. Apple's Silo, which we've talked about a lot on the show before, and is based on the Hugh Howey novels, has been renewed for 2 more seasons. So it'll get 4 seasons, and the 4th season will be the last and finish the story, right? They're not going to try to go beyond the books. That'll allow them to cover everything that was in the books. Apple is currently in the middle of releasing episodes in the 2nd season. So more Silo, but an ending too. I feel like that's a win-win.
Yeah, it's almost as though, oh man, I wish there was like a precedent set of a really good book that got turned into a really good show, but it was like a cautionary tale about what happens if you get a story on TV that goes ahead of the books. And then all of a sudden you have people who aren't the authors writing the end of it, and it may be complicated. Luckily, no such precedent exists, Tom.
No. Like all television adaptations of books, Apple waited until all the books in the series were out before they started making Silo.
It's the one true way series. For a reason, Tom.
It is. Yeah. Have you watched any of the 2nd season of Silo yet?
I did not know it's out. I was holding my breath for my birthday to watch Severance before I booted up the Apple TV app. Although I do need to watch Time Bandits. That's on there too.
Some people say you don't need to watch Time Bandits.
Our people said it's fine.
A trailer for James Gunn's Man of Steel movie starring David Corenswet isn't out yet, unless you're listening to this on December 19th after 9 a.m. Eastern, in which case it is out because that they telegraphed it's coming Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
I got to tell you, it's been a minute, Tom, since I've actually been kind of counting down the minutes to see this, because this is not just the first trailer for The Man of Steel. If you're a Superman fan, this is essentially a press release of just how much and exactly what flavor of that incredible James Gunn magic is going to come to the DC universe. And I'm really curious because knowing James Gunn's work, there are certain things that we know to expect, kind of a Peacemaker-esque vibe.
Yeah.
But just like Peacemaker surprised us by being, well, I don't know, I guess it's not that different. I guess both Guardians. I think it's going to be very James Gunn-y.
So yeah, Peacemaker, Suicide Squad, the Guardians of the Galaxy, they're all funny, but more than just funny. Superman's not funny. Now, it can be funny, but it's a sweeping story that is occasionally funny versus funny stories that can be occasionally moving. So this is a bit of a different challenge for James Gunn. He's signaling in the post about the fact that the trailer will be coming out later this week, that he is trying to honor the Christopher Reeves telling of Superman, because he's got a picture of Corenswet in a very Reevesian pose. And there's even like a strings version of that Superman theme from the Christopher Reeves movies.
Well, and also, if anybody could pull off a return to unironic Christopher Reeves times, it would be James Gunn. I mean, we saw a little kiss of that in Peacemaker by leaning into the like right from the opening dance scene that they do with the credit sequence. So yeah.
The White Lotus season 3 has a specific date now. If you're like, wait, didn't you say we already have a date? We had a month, February, and they have now released yet another trailer. It will come to Max and also HBO on February 16th. Don't forget this version of the White Lotus series is set in Thailand.
Yeah, to be honest, watching the trailer, the thing about White Lotus is like you meet a bunch of one-dimensional characters on episode 1, and then slowly you begin to realize that you do care about them by the end. So it wasn't like I was going to see anything that was going to make me like, I can't wait. It just like, okay, so that's the outline that tells me the homework I'm going to have to do on episode 1.
Well, I guess that's the interesting thing is because we've seen 2 seasons of White Lotus, I immediately went, oh, Walton Goggins is that character.
Yep.
He's the kind of rough and tumble guy who doesn't like all this stuff.
The meat
right?
and potatoes.
Yeah. Lisa, the woman who is the greeter, if you saw her, Lisa from Blackpink, she's that character. She's the person from the hotel who's going to get sucked into the drama of the guests. Okay, got it. I don't know if that reduces or increases my anticipation of the series.
Yeah, to be honest, I had a different take. I was like, Walton Goggins as Walton Goggins. Like just all of the characters.
True. That's a fair point. For the first time in history, the Oscars will be streamed on Hulu alongside the normal live broadcast on ABC. So again, everyone, I think the conventional wisdom is like, yeah, but you still need cable for the live stuff, for sports and award shows. And more, the sports is moving to streaming, right? You can still watch it on cable, but you could also watch it on streaming. And now we're seeing the Oscars the same way. Yes, you can watch it on broadcast. You can watch it on Therefore Cable. But if you don't have it, you can still watch the Oscars on Hulu this year.
So I latched on to the word first, like, oh, the first, then why didn't it happen before? And the answer, of course, was they didn't want to leech viewership away from TV, because that's the whole point of having an awards ceremony is that you could tout how many people tuned into the awards ceremony. And if the live stream was going to sap any of the numbers away from television, that would be bad for the reporting on how important the Hollywood Awards are. And now we're so far down the road that, what's that, television? You'd like a little goose? You'd like a little boost to them numbers? Let's say we just simultaneously, now we can all shout about how many people are watching or how many people tuned in so we get better metrics and so on.
The business priority has moved to streaming. We've seen that with Comcast, announcing they're spinning out their cable networks, with Warner announcing that they are moving their cable networks into a separate division. So you want people to stream on Hulu. That has changed, and the reporting has changed. Now, instead of this was how many people tuned into the broadcast, there were also some people on streaming, I guess. It's now, this is how many people watched. It was this many people on broadcast and this many people on streaming. So now that ratings have caught up, you can just have that one big number, which is the way it should be anyway.
Yeah, man. I feel like this whole episode is all about juking the stats. We're seeing YouTube act fishy with its prices.
Drugs on the table, Brian.
Photo ops. Let's go.
The upcoming 55th season of Sesame Street will be the last to air on Max and HBO. The show still airs on PBS in the U.S., but it has been premiering first on Max or HBO going back to 2016. before there even was a Max. In fact, even before it was HBO Max, it was HBO Now. Back episodes will stay available on Max until 2027. So if your kids like going back and watching the old ones, they'll be there for a few more years. But Sesame Workshop is looking for a new partner for streaming. Again, they'll still air them on PBS, but they're looking for a partner to premiere them on streaming.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that's really curious about this is just the fact that, we always thought about Sesame Street as being uniquely PBS-y, but turns out it gets around.
Yeah.
Sesame Street gets around.
Well, I remember when we talked about it back in 2016 when it moved to HBO and it was a big deal. And it's like, well, Sesame Workshop needs to get a revenue stream to keep it going, even to keep it on PBS. So I'm very curious who, if anyone, wants this.
W. Scottus One says Disney Plus, which
possibly.
That makes a lot
Muppets,
of sense,
right?
Yeah.
So it seems like they would be the top bidder, though Paramount has a pretty strong kids brand with the Nickelodeon franchise, so they might be a player in this. Yeah. Apple TV Plus would love to have it. They love to have things
that
like
would
Peanuts.
be very Apple.
Yeah.
That would be very Apple.
That's a good one, Ryan. Ryan's saying
Cordkillers
that.
at gmail.com if you guys got a different take.
And then finally, a trailer for 28 Years Later, the sequel to 28 Days Later, had people suspecting that Cillian Murphy was returning to the franchise as a zombie. However, British art dealer Angus Neal has come forward and said, "No, that's me, not Murphy. I just kind of look like Murphy." So anyway, maybe it can be Angus Neal portraying the zombie that was Cillian Murphy. I guess we'll find out once 28 Years Later comes out. Shall we move on to the buried treasure?
Indeed.
Then let's do that.
Most people want to know why they suddenly got rich.
Buried treasure.
Indeed, they did. Brian, what have you been watching these days that you considered buried treasure for people?
You know what? As you know, it's been very busy with the holiday time, making a lot of people happy at scamstuff.com, gear for the modern rogue. And when I do have free time, I usually watch Lower Decks with my daughter. However, finally, as if from a slumber, the lazy days of the holiday season has awoken my 17-year-old. That's right. From a super slumber. Josie finally is interested in watching that last season of What We Do in the Shadows. And I asked her, I poked a little bit as to her hesitation, and she goes, well, I kind of feel like I should go back and because, I want to know I remember what all happened. And I'm like, do you really need to? It's always the same show. And then I remembered there's 6 seasons. And if it's a year and a half in between seasons, I think she was 11, Tom.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine watching something at 17 and having to remember season 1 from when you were 11?
So that would be like me in 1987 watching something from 81. Yeah.
Yes, right. And I have to do that all the time. I go back to grades and like I imagine being a junior and then trying to remember something that I watched when I was in 5th grade. But the show's great. It's all the same stuff. It's great.
Actually, a perfect example for me would be watching, like tuning in to watch Cheers in 1987 when I hadn't watched it since the first season. Wow, that's crazy. Well, you mentioned you didn't know Silo was back, and it is, in fact, back. And Eileen and I have been watching it. And I say that because these days we don't have a lot of time to watch television shows. So we are very selective about the ones that we watch, especially the ones we watch together, because we sort of have to wait till the dog to be asleep for us to watch anything together. And Silo has made the cut. It is good. It is continuing to be good. The cliffhanger ending has paid off in unexpected ways. And the 2 stories we're now telling, there's one related to the cliffhanger ending and one that is continuing the Silo machinations from season 1, are very good. Now, granted, this is all based on the Hugh Howey novels, so if you read the novels, it's not going to be as surprising, but it's being told in a really compelling way. And Eileen, who has not read the books, is really into it as well. And we end up watching it pretty quickly after it comes out. It's not one of those like, oh, we're actually kind of a week behind, but we'll catch up.
So how many episodes are out right now?
Let me check real quickly in my TVST app. There are 5 episodes out now. They will be coming out until January 16th. Episode 10 comes out January 16th.
Oh, that's brilliant. So they're going to wrap up and go straight into Severance.
Into Severance, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a nice lead in. But yes, what do you got? Are you going to wait? Are you going to wait and then just binge it?
No, I have to wait because I've been watching it with Bonnie. We're in the similar thing. And, but I mean, that would be a good wind up to lead us into Severance.
Yep. Yeah. Anyway, I recommend it. If you liked season 1 anyway, I recommend it. If you got something we should be on the lookout for, email us cordkillers@gmail.com. Brian, what else you got going on?
Dude, this is it. If you're hearing this, odds are you're hearing it this week, which means you have, I believe Wednesday is the last day at a reasonable shipping date that we could get stuff out and it'll arrive by Christmas Eve. Whether it's if you got an uncle, a cousin, a friend, if you just want to give them a little something and help keep independent podcasters in business, why don't you get, like, for example, ultraviolet thief detection powder? And then that way you shine it under a black light, you can see where people's figure out their codes on their keypads and whatnot. Or give them a pen with a bunch of lockpicks inside. They're going to talk about it forever. Get the magic tricks, something easy, a marked deck of cards, a puzzle box, you name it. We got it all over at Scam Stuff. Gear for the modern rogue. It means a lot to us. It's really great every single day. We have 2 of our team members come in and they ship stuff out. It's like a cartoon of Santa's Village, Tom. Like, we have a little shack that they come and they fulfill orders, hand wrapped, and because, like, even if we do have part of a kit that we have to source from somewhere with boring, mass-produced packaging, part of the style guide that I wrote is like, no, you take everything out, you inspect it, you make sure it works. If it's this kind of device, you make sure there's ink in the pan. You actually, like, we can't compete on logistics, but we can compete on attention to detail and extraordinary customer service. And so it's great. It's as old-fashioned as Americana can get. I mean, we should be a Norman Rockwell painting.
That's fantastic, man. Once again, where should people go if they want to experience that magic?
Scam Stuff, SCAMSTUFF. Here's the thing, guys. The only way you get to call your business Scam Stuff is by being impeccably honest.
Indeed. All right, folks, we shall honestly scan the horizon now.
Send a scanning to avoid.
Scanning the horizon!
Alluded to this earlier, Warner Brothers Discovery has divided its corporate structure into 2 main divisions: global linear networks and the part that makes money. I'm sorry, streaming and studios. Global linear networks has all the cable channels, and studio and streaming has Max, the movie studios, and significantly, HBO was left out of the global linear networks. It's over in studio and streaming because you know what it does? It makes money. It clearly is Warner Brothers doing what Comcast was doing, but not going as far as spinning it out, but saying we want to wall off the bottom line of the money-making part of the business, the movie studios, the streaming situation, and we want to put the declining part of the business, the cable channels, separately. That way, when people start talking about buying us, if they want the option to only buy part of it, we can do that. And in fact, I wouldn't be shocked if SpinCo or whatever Comcast ends up calling it, which they talked about wanting acquisitions, might buy Warner Brothers global linear networks at some point this coming year.
Interesting. So I guess, I guess at this point, you know what? It turns out that I'm not a bottomless source of speculation. Like, I just thought about speculating. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good.
No, that seems like pretty clear cut. They're wrapping it up with a bow, like Santa's workshop. Here you go, Comcast. Enjoy. Variety named DirecTV as the best place to get all your streaming video in one place. They said the number of live channels you get for the price, the amount of the on-demand, and the ability to add Max, Paramount Plus, and MGM Plus, among others, was determinative in them picking it over YouTube TV or Hulu Plus Live TV. So we should throw DirecTV in there as a competitor to be the place that has you add on all the channels.
Yeah, well, it's certainly the only one with a brand name synonymous with cable or a cable-like experience going back 30 years.
Yeah. And granted, Spectrum is trying to do it. Comcast is trying to do it. Like, you can add these other streaming services. DirecTV, I think, is interesting in that it is streaming and satellite, but they have broken down the divisions between those. It used to be that the whole satellite thing was a separate login, separate website. In fact, if you go far enough back when AT&T still owned them, it was called AT&T TV now, not DirecTV Stream. And it feels like they're merging them and saying, look, if you want to put a satellite on your house, we're still doing that for now, but we'd really prefer you just buy our streaming package, and then we can administer all this stuff for you. So I thought it was interesting that Variety picked them over YouTube TV, which usually is the one that everybody picks.
Yeah.
LG has discontinued the manufacture of its Blu-ray players. They will remain on sale until existing inventory runs out, but they're not making any more. LG, however, said it's not shutting down the possibility of making new models in the future. It's going to leave the infrastructure in place for now. It also didn't announce any plans for that, but I don't know. Maybe they want to surprise us at CES or something.
I would love to hear from all of the fine folks who are diehard physical media folks. And we know you're out there. We hear from you all the time at cordkillers@gmail.com. Does this inspire any trepidation for you? Because I feel like there's kind of two forces at work. One is, the unstoppable march of entropy, where things, for example, I've got a whole bunch of media on mini DVs, and for the life of me, I could not find anywhere. I had to buy a used mini DV player to even be able to capture all of this stuff. Meanwhile, I know you guys have physical media because you have Blu-ray players. What if they break? Although I guess you'd probably no, I mean, you can't even buy a new PlayStation that has an optical. Anyway, point is, are you worried about it? But on the flip side, there's also this constant growth of the robots are rising, and all of a sudden, infrastructure is infrastructure, and I don't know. It feels like maybe there's a place for boutique Blu-ray players to be showed up.
And there are still folks like Magnetar making Blu-ray players, so they're not gone yet. And I found it really intriguing that LG didn't just say, sorry, we're getting out of the business, right? That's usually what happens. When Sony did this, that's what they said. They're like, we're not making standalone Blu-ray players anymore. LG left this door open, and I wonder if I may follow you down into the cornfields of wild speculation, what if they announce an LG WebOS streaming device at CES? Because they have a very well-regarded TV operating system. What if they announce a streaming device that is standalone, that you don't need a TV for, and it's got a Blu-ray player in it?
Oh.
So they didn't want to say we're not making Blu-ray players anymore, but they couldn't announce it yet because they want to unveil that at CES.
So essentially, we're back to the days of the combination VCR TV?
Well, no, I was thinking this would be standalone, but you're right. Maybe it's built into an LG TV.
That's yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes even more sense, actually.
Well, because all of a sudden it's a specific, but Blu-ray, one of the things you're buying is exquisite quality, whereas combination VCR TVs stuck around largely because defensive driving classes needed something to play on.
Yeah, true. I don't know. It's wild speculation. Let us know what you think. Cordkillers@gmail.com. Disney CFO Hugh Johnston told a conference that Disney's effort to limit password sharing is, quote, working out well for us in terms of subscriber growth. Regular access to an account from outside the main household leads to a request that you get your own subscription or get added to the main account. If you want to add someone to your main account, it's $6.99 a month for Disney Plus Basic or $10 a month extra for Premium. But I was skeptical how much this was going to make a difference for people because I just figured password sharing was a minor thing and that people who were password sharing wouldn't want to pony up. But Netflix proved me wrong. And it seems like Disney is too.
Yeah, I mean, look, good for you on the bump. It's unsustainable growth. I mean, this is caffeine on an all-nighter.
It won't keep going. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
You can't build like I mean, yes, hooray for this quarter's dividends, I guess, to all the stockholders. But it's like that's not a business plan long term.
No. Yeah. It's a way to bump the revenue up, and it certainly appears to be a decent way, a successful way to do it. Do you know that Roku City screensaver on Roku? Did you know it was at 720p?
You know what? I actively am angry at this news, not because I require quality of my screensavers, but because it means my TCL is going to take even longer to turn on.
The news is that Roku City screensaver is now 1080p. Even though the majority of Roku TVs are 4K, that screensaver is now 1080p. Finally, welcome to 2010.
I want to go back.
All right, folks, that is what we have got for scanning the horizon. Now, you've got mail. Yaru wrote in from Malaysia to say, I find myself disagreeing with Brian on quite a number of things, but he said something recently that I 100% agree with. I also prefer Batman Begins to The Dark Knight.
Hey-o!
Despite Christopher Nolan being their favorite director, Yaru recognizes The Dark Knight's objective strengths, plot, Joker, Harvey Dent, all that. He said, feels dry and overly long. Also disliked Rachel's recasting, which he felt weakened the emotional impact of the character arc. In contrast, Batman Begins stands out as a strong origin story with emotional depth, particularly in Bruce's relationship with Alfred and Rachel. And Yaru appreciates Batman Begins for restoring Batman's credibility in live-action cinema, whereas he thinks The Dark Knight fails to connect with them on the same level.
Also, it did so at an inappropriately fast refresh cycle. I think it was like only 3 or 4 years since the last, since the Schumacher Batman and Robin or something. And it was like, or maybe it was a different one. But I remember thinking it was way too fast for another Batman movie to be rebooting it. And so to climb uphill and as I said before, pull off the magic trick of being an action movie that, turns out to be a comic book movie was great.
If you're looking to watch some cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies with the family and friends this year, Matt Lee recommends the Hallmark series Unwrapping Christmas. It's a collection of 4 movies that are pretty standard in and of themselves, but they all end up in the same place. 4 friends run a gift wrapping business and are hosting the Christmas Gala. Each movie follows one of the friends on their journey to get to the gala and find love along the way. There are crossovers and connections that add a little something extra. You can watch in any order, but Matt recommends starting with Tina and ending with Olivia. He says we had fun watching them across 3 generations during the long Thanksgiving weekend.
Right on.
Yeah, that's sweet. And then Tom, Brian, and Amos writes, Sean, me and my wife both enjoyed Dairy Girls. She is obsessed with Bridgerton, and I watched Doctor Who by myself. So when you mentioned Nicola Coughlan being in the Doctor Who Christmas special, I thought I would pique my wife's interest in Doctor Who. I asked her, guess what Nicola Coughlan is going to be in next? And to my surprise, she had already seen the trailer earlier in the day. I would have been the one who broke the news had I listened to your episode on Tuesday, but Patreon didn't release it until Wednesday morning. Are you guys still recording Monday and releasing Tuesday, or has there been a schedule change?
That's a good question.
We are still recording on Monday, and we mostly release on Tuesday, unless Amos is driving across the barren Canadian tundra.
Yeah, unless you ever see a little documentary called Mad Max Fury Road? Imagine that, but in Canada.
In a Toyota Cross.
Yeah.
I will say that this is not. I've said this before, but this is not the December I wanted, but it's the December I've got. So things are a little delayed. Things are crazy around this household, and I'm doing the best I can. Come January, it'll all be straightened out, and I'll have figured everything out and gotten back into the swing of things now that my life is slowly piecing itself back together.
Yeah, but apologize for the delay, Sean. We do our best.
Yeah,
and thank you, Amos, for persevering.
I try.
Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. And we are live on twitch.tv/Night Attack Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. I reckon we'll talk to you next time.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.